Good morning, everyone. We will get started with our washing machine. We are wanting to warm up the muscles of our back, spine, torso areas. So feel the muscles of the mid back and shoulder blade area, upper back. You can feel the side body with the twisting. We want to take our spine through its range of motion here. Let's go ahead and do our spinal cord breathing with a twist. So we bring our forearms together, we round through the spine, twist to the side, elbows back, look up, and then come back to center. We're just going to do 3 sets of these. Spinal cord breathing with a twist. Then we'll do side bends, dog wags tail. And bobbing bird. So we bring our fists to the upper part of our pelvic ridge, pelvic crest. We push forward with our hips, lean back, look up. And then we hinge forward, gazing at the floor. And we've got a little knee bend, but we're stretching through the hamstrings here. So the back of the thighs. Also a nice back stretch. Last one. It's a nice way to stretch through the front of the body. When we're leaning back like that, that stretches the front, which is not easy to stretch. So that's a good one. Let's go ahead and do our hip circles. Six in each direction. Change direction whenever you're ready. And let's do picking apples. So we hike up a hip, reach up with the opposite arm. The other elbow comes down, back and down. And then we'll go to our wall or the door. And we'll do our YWs. So we have the arms extended overhead like we're making the letter Y. And then we can slide our arms down all the way into that W where we're lifting through the heart. we've got our back against the door or the wall, and we just slide up into the letter Y. If you don't have a door or a wall, then you can do it in midair. But it gives you more stretch if you're against the wall. My feet are just a few inches away from the door. If it causes any type of pain, you don't do it. That's the importance of listening to your body. Let's do some step up to balance. So you can do this just on the floor. It's a step, lift that knee, hold it, and step back. And then step forward with the opposite foot. Step forward, lift the knee, hold it, and step back. And you can also do it on stairs if you happen to have stairs nearby. It adds a little bit of difficulty to create that step up. So step up, lift, come back down, and step up with the other foot. We're doing 5 to 15 of these. And then it's time for our jumps. And the jumps, the reason for that is because of the benefit of bone density. So there's some thinking out there in the fitness world that jumping is a good idea. So it depends on your body. It might not be right for you. So you could do modified jumping jacks. You can do real jumping jacks, or you can hopscotch. So you choose what feels best to your body. And whatever it is, enjoy. Do it with a smile on your face, which isn't easy. Finishing up. Let's do our door push-ups, door or counter push-ups. So you get to decide, do you want to go to your counter or do you want to do wall push-ups or door push-ups? We want to have those hands about shoulder height. I actually like the push-ups on the counter better. I feel like I get a better workout. So you'll do 5 to 15 of these. When you get finished, grab your dumbbells. We're going to do our hammer curls while we stand on one leg. Get our standing leg. We're grounded. We send those imaginary roots down. We lift up the other leg. We use our focal point, and we want a focal point that doesn't move. And we'll do our hammer curls. So we've got our thumbs up, pinkies are down. We don't rotate. We keep that wrist straight. We're going to do 5 to 15 of these. Depending on the size of dumbbell that you have, you want to go till you feel that sense of fatigue on the last 2 reps. You don't want to feel pain. If you feel pain, you go to a lighter weight. So you just use how it feels in your body to know you're at your top end of your reps, and then you switch legs and do the other side. So 5 to 15 of those on each leg, balanced. And then we'll grab our ball. If you don't have a ball, you can go to the floor on your mat. Off the carpeting. So we're gonna first get set down on our ball, and then we'll start to walk our feet away so that our upper back and neck and head are supported on the ball. And then we'll walk our feet closer to the ball again. So we'll do that 3 times, 3 sets, walking away from the ball. And stepping, coming back up. One more time. And then we'll do our crunches. So that was basically just a warm up to get used to being on the ball without falling off, which is always a good thing. And now we'll do our crunches. We want our head and neck and upper back supported. We have our knees bend, we're lifting to the hips. So that's taking effort in our core muscles to hold us because our butt is not on the ball. We're lifting, that's using muscles, which is good. And now let's go ahead and do our crunches. So you'll do 5 to 15 of these, 2 different sets with a little rest in between. We don't want to pull on our neck. Our clasped hands are just supporting the neck. Your elbows out, nice stretch through the upper back and upper chest. And do your second set when you're ready. If 15 isn't enough, do a few more. You want to get to that place of muscle fatigue on the last two. All right. And now we'll do our floor bridges where we slide down so that our glutes, our hips are almost to the floor. Knees are in a deep bend. And then we push back up. We hold that, lifting those hips. Squeezing the glutes, squeezing the muscles of the thighs. And then we come back down, butt toward the floor, and then lift. Hold. And repeat. 5 to 15 of these. If you have any knee pain, press into the heels when you're coming up. Head and back are supported, upper back supported by the ball. One more. And if you're on the floor, you're just doing regular floor bridges. Half bridge is what they're called in yoga. So get yourself back sitting on the ball whenever you're ready. When you finish with your reps. All right, let's set our ball aside. We'll grab our resistance band. We're going to stand on it and we'll do our bicep curls. This time we will have our palms toward us, toward the legs, and then we'll rotate and bring our palms up as we lift. Now, depending on how tight, how strong of a band you're using, you may be able to come up but we don't want to straighten that joint, the elbow joint, if we keep that little bend in it. We have our upper arms hugged close to our rib cage. Elbows are pinned to the rib cage. Palms are up. So we're not returning here each time, although we could. We will go to our door and use our door anchor. We want it at shoulder height. height. test it to make sure that the door is latched securely and that your door anchor isn't going to fall out and you're going to go flying across the floor. Let's do our shoulder rolls or rows, excuse me, rows. So we keep the palms down. We bring those elbows back. You'll do 5 to 15 and then turn away from the door anchor. So taking your time. We want the resistance band strap underneath our armpits if that feels comfortable for you. We are going to get our thumbs up and then we press out and our palms come down. We come back, we'll have our thumbs up and then push out, palms down. This is one variation. So we're pressing out. These are called shoulder presses or chest presses. And then repeat that two more sets of each of those. So back to the shoulder row, facing the door, keeping the palms down. And then when you get your 5 to 15 done, you'll face away from the door. Resistance bands are underneath your armpits. Thumbs are up and you press out and the palms are down. Chest is lifted. Finish up your 5 to 15 or whenever you start to notice that fatigue. We'll set aside our resistance band and we'll grab our dumbbells. For this, you're going to want one dumbbell actually, and you're going to want to have something that you can kneel on. So that could be a chair, the seat of a chair. You just want a nice, firm, steady surface that isn't going to move on you. And you're going to put a knee on it. So, and you can do it if you don't have a chair in your room and you don't want to run get one, you can do this without that. We're just going to hold the dumbbell in our hand. Our thumb is forward. We're going to lift up, scrunch that shoulder blade toward the spine, and then come back down. So you could do this if you don't have a surface. You could do it with 2 dumbbells. Bend the knees, hinge forward, and bring those shoulder blades toward the spine. So this is what it looks like standing up with both dumbbells at the same time. Or You can use a chair, the seat of a chair. Now with this one, you most likely could go to a higher weight. So 5 to 15 of these till you reach that point of fatigue. And then you switch sides. So you switch the leg that's kneeling on the seat of the chair. Just notice how good that feels to let that weight hang. You go till you reach that point of fatigue, of muscle fatigue. And then we'll do standing up skull crushers. Sounds fun, doesn't it? So we hold our weight like this with our palms up over our head. We're going to tuck those elbows in toward the head. Our palms are up and we lift. So we've done this on the ball, a variation of this on the ball, but right now we're doing it standing. And you listen to your body. 5 to 15, depending on how much weight you've got. We'll set our dumbbells aside. We'll go to our mats. We'll want to remove our shoes and socks eventually. We can do our shoulder, or no, not shoulder. We're gonna do our circles, spinal circles. It'd be a little challenging to do spinal circles and shoulder circles at the same time. So we have our core muscles engaged. Our navel is toward our spine. We're not dumping our belly into our lap for this one. And then other direction. Come back to center. We'll do our side bends. So we're going to reach arms overhead, palms facing each other, and then lean to the side. That top palm is down. We keep both sit bones grounded to the mat. So we don't lift through that sit bone area. Lean to the other side. One more sweep each side. Then we'll do our twists. So both arms up and twist. Other side, reach overhead and twist. And to center. Let's put our legs out in front of us. Staff pose. So we have our hands on the mat. Our fingers are toward our feet. We press into the mat, lift through the heart. Shoulders are back and down. We are bringing our toes toward the nose. So we're flexing the ankles, which gives us a big stretch through the backs of the legs. So we're pressing into the mat with our hands, lifting through the heart. Bringing our active legs, we're bringing our toes toward the nose, and we tuck the chin, navel towards spine, and lift through the pelvic floor muscles. Looks like nothing is happening. If you're doing it, you know that that is not true. You can release it when you're ready. So that's another way that you can build heat in your body. I don't know if you notice, but you can really build heat by doing that. Now let's go ahead and separate our feet. Press through the heels, toes to the nose, hands to the shins. Come up on your sit bones. And then begin to hinge forward any amount. It's a big stretch through the back of the legs and the hips. I can feel it in my hip flexors in the hip crease area. So sliding down toward the ankles, maybe you can even reach your toes. Maybe you can wrap your fingers around the bottom of your feet. Now engage the muscles of your thighs. So squeeze the thigh muscles. Notice how that changes it. So squeeze those thighs. They might get shaky. And that's a good thing. You can come out of that when you're ready. Let's go ahead and go into bound angle. Soles of the feet are together, knees out to the side. You can butterfly those knees up and down if you choose. Come up on the sit bones. You can walk the sit bones closer to the heels or farther away from the heels. And then hinge forward at the hip. So lean forward at the hip, but not rounding through the back. We keep our spine straight. And then let's make our way to tabletop. So we've got our hands underneath our shoulders and our knees are underneath our hips. Let's do cat-cow. So we arch our back like a Halloween cat, drop the head, tuck the tailbone. And then we drop the belly, lift the gaze, and repeat. This is really good for low back. And now let's do our sequence to work on our hips. So we're going to take our Knee to the nose, extend the leg behind and look up. Take the knee out to the side, fire hydrant, gaze at that knee. And then take the knee out behind or the leg out behind again. Keep those elbows tucked in and lower down, forehead or nose to the mat, and then press back up. So there's one set. Knee to the nose, extend the leg behind and look up. Fire hydrant. And then extend the leg behind, bend the elbows, forehead or nose to the floor. And repeat. Let's do that 6 times, and we've done 2, so 4 more. When you get finished, you can curl your toes under, send some weight in your heels, stretch out through the bottom of your feet. As long as you can stand it, which might not be too long. We'll go back. We'll do the other side. So knee to the nose on the other side, extend the leg behind and look up. Fire hydrant. Extend the leg behind. Keep the elbows tucked in, lower down. It's like a push-up. Forehead or nose to the floor, and then repeat. There's one set. Do 6 total. When you finish, let's do some wrist shakes. Palms down. So you can sit however you want. Crisscross, hero's pose. Palms down. Palms up. And then we'll do our wrist spirals. So we are trying to move those, spiral those hands, articulate the bones in the wrist, and then reverse. We'll do wrist knocks. We're going to knock one wrist right on the top of the other one. And then other side. Wrist shakes again, palms down. And palms up. We are going to make our way to standing. So if you are able to do downward facing dog, that would be where you would start. We're going to extend through the spine. So we push our hands into the floor and push our pelvis away from our hands. Gaze at your hands and walk forward. The knees are bent. We come up into that half lift. Flat back. The knees straighten out now. Gaze forward. And then we'll sweep out and up overhead. Reach those fingers to the ceiling. Look up. You can even do a slight back bend here if that feels good. Feet are pretty close together. And then heart center. Nice. We did it. Let's go ahead and go into our warrior two stance. So the front heel is pointing to the center of the back arch. We bend that front knee. We've got our tailbone tucked under, arms to T. Our shoulders are over the hip. Release that and switch feet, switch the direction of your feet. Warrior two, other direction. Shoulders are back and down, heart lifted, gaze forward. You can come out of that and walk your feet together. Cross body knee lifts. Then we'll do intense stretch. So for this one, our feet are on railroad tracks, so they're parallel. We've got our back toes turned out slightly. The front knee has a little micro bend because we don't want it to bend backward. We don't want to put pressure on that joint. We bring our arms behind our back, which just in doing that is a big stretch through the upper chest. So we're lifting through the chest, and then we begin to hinge forward. So when your arms are behind, you can grasp your forearms. You can do reverse prayer if that's doable for your body. Then we begin to hinge forward. So we've got that little micro bend. We're gazing at our toes. And we hinge forward. And we hang out there. Big stretch through the back of the calf. Bring your awareness to the back of that back calf. Toes do not need to be death gripping the mat. So just remind them of that. You can come out of it when you're ready and step the back foot forward. And let's do some shoulder rolls. Both shoulders, just rolling. And then we'll do intense stretch on the other side. So the back toes are turned out slightly. We've got a little micro bend in that front knee. It's just a little tiny bend. Arms behind. We've got our torso facing forward. And we hinge at the hip. Gazing at our toes, keeping those toes soft. And we're breathing. It's tempting to want to hold our breath, but we don't. Come out of that whenever you're ready. Step your feet together, shake out the arms, roll the shoulders. Let's do a shoulder stretch, hugging that arm across our body with the thumb up. This will be the last thing we do here. And then open the arms wide, thumbs are up. Other side. You hug that shoulder in. Doesn't that feel nice? Hands to heart center. Namaste. And there's our practice.